Arc Raiders has been insanely fun to play, but there are a lot of different things I wish I knew sooner, or that the game just doesn't tell you. There are a lot of misconceptions that I see when it comes to combat and Arc enemies in general. Before you complain about Arc enemies and the AI being too difficult, they're not too difficult, you're just not that good yet. You have to learn and play the game first. A lot of these are actually pretty easy. For any of the drone robots, like the Hornets and the Wasps, to knock them down faster and kind of stun them into this mode where they can't really shoot you because they're out of balance, shoot them in their wings. Hornets have the wings or propellers like the smaller Wasps do, but the front two are generally armored while the back two are unarmored. Shoot the back wings. It's so much easier to knock these guys down. If you can't hit those, you know you might miss, you're not that great, just try to shoot at it at all. But the back propellers are the easy weak spot to hit. Always loot these Arc robots, by the way. They don't have just a lot of useful loot that you'll need for crafting, but they drop Arc power cells. You can use these to heal your shield. You don't have to solely depend on the shield rechargers, although those are a lot better. I don't even know how many times this would have saved me if I knew this. Like if you're low on shield or shield rechargers and you defeated an Arc enemy, grab the Arc power cells. If you ever find fabric lying around, you can do the same thing with that in order to heal your health. It's just that the healing with that is pretty garbage. That's why I think one of the best skills in the game to have as soon as possible is the one in the red skill tree that allows you to field craft items. Even better later on is the second version of that allows you to craft even more, but with just the very first skill, you'll be able to take that fabric to craft bandages or those Arc power cells to craft more shield rechargers. This is one of the most must-have skills in the game. Oh yeah, just another thing, I did not notice this for a long time, but you always take health damage even if you have a shield. The shields just reduce the damage that you take. So with the light shield, you're taking 40% less damage than you would without it, but you're still taking health damage. So you should get used to always taking out a bandage first to get that heal going, since you heal over time anyways, before you use your shield recharger. I was using shield rechargers right off the bat all the time and wondering why I just immediately got eviscerated, and it's because I had very low health. I thought my shield was covering me. After getting the first bandage, then the shield recharger, then you'll probably be ready to do another bandage. Typically, you should try your best to avoid Arc enemies unless you just really need their loot. Because, I mean, they shine a light targeting exactly where you are for other players to see, and the shooting just sounds the alarm to anyone nearby. If an Arc enemy's light is yellow, that means they're searching for you. You can still run away and escape. You don't have to start blasting away unless you just know they're going to see you. But if there are drones flying above you that are already shining a red light, shoot them, dude. Your entire team who are nearby should be getting rid of these as soon as possible. Immediately start shooting them. When you have 2 or 3 people shooting these guys, it's a piece of cake. But if you're not, you're making an easy problem into a difficult one by just not helping. They are a million times more annoying to run away from unless you're in a building or behind cover, in which case you can wait it out if you really want to, until they slowly de-aggro and get less angry and walk away or fly away.
Let it go away first.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see it. Shoot it, please help. And that's what you should do if you accidentally aggro a raid boss like a Leaper, for example. Probably one of the easier raid bosses to handle. They're not extremely smart, but if you haven't defeated one and didn't go in with a loadout to handle a giant boss, don't shoot it. The Rocketeer, please don't shoot. But if you do, that's the time to run and use cover. With the Rocketeer, you really need to change directions to dodge the rockets and use any nearby cover while running away until you find something safer like a building. I typically like to do like a walk, wait until just before I hear him start launching his rockets, and then hit a sprint. But if he has a close range on you, and I mean, even when he doesn't, there's just not a whole lot you can do. You need a roof over your head. The Rocketeer is annoying if you weren't planning on fighting him, but if you've got a long-range, hard-hitting weapon like the Pharaoh Sniper and like 40 to 60 rounds, just depending on how accurate you are, the Rocketeer isn't that hard to beat if you just use cover and keep shooting its wings.
The right wing, right wing.
If you start shooting it from far away, it might not even make it to you before it goes down. Everyone should focus on one front propeller, and then after that one falls off, aim for the one beside or behind it, and it'll get knocked down where you can finish it off. Just keep in mind he can still shoot you from the ground.
Oh my god! That was a crazy angle he almost had on me.
For the leaper, you're pretty much entirely safe by hiding in a building or anywhere it cannot fit. Every time it starts walking away because it can't get to you, just peek back out. Shoot its legs to break the armor where you can find its weak spots, and after shooting there a while, it's actually pretty dang easy to beat, surprisingly. When you go down, crawl to your teammates. Unless an enemy is just sitting there waiting for your little limp body to peek out and that's the only way you can go, do something, man. If you go down and there's only arc enemies around, these do not finish you. They will only be looking for your teammates. We're boys back in Nam.
Yeah.
Namaste. He won't come fuck with us. Oh my gosh, he's coming. Get in the vet bus. Now, sometimes if I know I'm dead, I've got a trio on me and they already knocked out my buddies, or I'm split up from them and it's a 3v1, and I see a Rocketeer off in the distance, I'm shooting it before I go down, 100%. I'm shooting any arc enemy I see to lure them over and get the guys who got me. I'm also dropping any piece of valuable loot that can't be stuffed into my prison wallet into the most obscure spot while I'm running away.
I dropped it.
If I'm down, I'll also typically wrap my way out into the open, so at the very least, they gotta loot me out there with the risk of being shot, or to bait whoever killed me into the open so other players or arc robots can take them out. And it works really, really well. If I see arc robots nearby, or I already know this guy's having trouble with them, and I crawl towards them, or just out in the open where they can see him if he pushes me, dude, it works so dang well.
I mean, I know I'm gonna get got, but I'm gonna get mine more than I get got though.
Also, if you're down, ping enemies and call them out so your teammates can at least try to avenge you, and even maybe save you. If you've got teammates who are alive and still fighting, you should crawl toward your teammate instead of sitting there like a dead fish, but also ping them. If you see someone, ping the living crap out of them. Yeah, crawling around puts you more at risk of getting finished, but you're already down though.
Got him, good call out.
You're not getting revived anyways if your teammate doesn't clutch, so you might as well try to get some revenge on the guys who got you, and help your teammate help you. Just more people need to ping, man. Or he's on this down guy. He's reviving.
Is he healing him? Ping him.
He's coming out.
What the fuck?
What I learned from that is that when you set an enemy ping and you look away, that ping goes away. You ping with the middle mouse button on PC or hold up on the D-pad for PS5 or controller. Press it once for a regular ping, twice for an enemy ping. Press that same button while hovering over the map to place a specific ping on the map, or if you're low on ammo, I was wondering this for the longest time. You open up your inventory, hover over the weapon you need ammo for, and ping it. You can also hold that ping button to open up a big old wheel. On there you can toggle whether or not your pings are heard just for your teammates or other players as well. And that's also where you can ask for heals.
Can anyone patch me up?
And by the way, man, every team needs a medic. If you have any healing items and you see your teammate hasn't healed, either ask them if they need heals or just go heal them. You take that healing item out, aim at that teammate, and it'll tell you which button to press in order to heal them. On PC, it's right click. On controller, it's probably L2. Dude, I did not know for the longest time that you can filter your loadout in different ways. When selecting your loadout, if you select an empty slot, or I guess they don't even have to be empty, just click on a slot in your loadout, it'll filter your stash to whatever type of slot that is. That is the fastest way to set your loadout up from scratch. I also somehow took a while to even realize the symbols on the left were for filtering the category, and I was actually just going down the entire list looking for what I needed. Oh yeah, big tip, when you sell items, it sells the entire stack. So split the stack over and over until you have the amount that you want to sell. And a lot of people are kind of confused on how to even do that and how to split stacks in general. On PS5, hover over whatever you want to split, press X, scroll to an empty stash spot or slot in your backpack, and then press square. So Xbox, you press A and then X on an empty slot. On PC, just hold the Alt key, and while holding Alt, click and drag on the stack that you want to split. From there, just drop it on an empty slot. Walking is OP. A lot of the time you might not want to actually sprint, but just walk. Not only is this super useful for conserving stamina, but it makes it so much less obvious that you're running away or flanking an enemy, or even just in the same vicinity as them. But the majority of the time, you can just walk. Sprinting is insanely loud. You should fast walk pretty much everywhere with maybe some slow sprints in between, but you don't ever really want to fully drain your stamina and leave yourself out in the open with no room to sprint or dodge if an enemy were to pop out. But if you didn't know, there's also a slow walk, and this is way more useful than you might think. On PC, you press the V key to slow walk. On controller, you just have to lightly press the left analog stick forward without it picking up into like a light jog, which takes me over to the mobility skill tree. It might be helpful to know that the calming stroll skill is referring to the actual slow walk, not your like normal old walk slash jog thing, but it is still totally worth it. Slow walking might feel incredibly slow at first, but without even having this skill, still regenerates stamina faster than crouching and moves faster than crouching, plus moves just as quietly. Like, you can slow walk your way out of fights until you're a good distance away before you start regular walking, and these guys have no idea you even left. Also, without that skill, your stamina regeneration is still extremely fast. The only thing faster than it is standing still. Like, look, this is slow walking. The noise you make for regular walking, and then sprinting. Something also to think about is that the sound just carries much further. While sprinting, you can hear yourself from a lot further away. Slow walking is almost unnoticeable. But what's even better to have on you for these situations are smoke grenades. These are just crazy useful, man. One of the most must-have items in the game. If you're in that situation, pinned down in a room with a backpack full of good loot, just smoke and run away. Most players are not going to push into smoke unless they just have nothing to lose. Extracting is just so easy with smoke grenades. Most of the time they're wasted because no other players are nearby, or if there are, they're not rats waiting to stab you in the back, but it just feels so much safer to be able to pop a smoke and start extracting, or have them to run from cover into the extraction zone.
65 meters up here. I think the guy that was trying to join us.
And another thing to keep in mind is that the fall damage that you take is much, much lower than you'd probably expect. It's pretty crazy.
You can't tell if they're looking at you. Get down, jump off the front. God damn.
Please help. So if you're running away and the only escape is jumping from a big height, you might be fine. If you roll right before hitting the ground, you take even less fall damage. You roll by just clicking left alt on PC or double tapping circle or B on controller. Sprinting and dodging dodges much further but uses a lot more stamina. You can also grab onto ladders, zip lines, and ledges to stop fall damage, and allows you to get down from high places a lot faster. You can drop until the very last second, and you will always be able to grab onto the rope or ladder as long as it gives you the input option to do so. If you just hold jump, you can cling onto almost anything. So when climbing up or dropping down from a ledge and you want to catch yourself, just hold the jump button. You can use that to escape or climb into windows without having to use the stairs, but once you're on a ledge, you can actually press the crouch button to drop down to either the ground or to hang on to a lower ledge. If you want to hang on to a lower ledge, just hold the jump button again while you're falling, right as you're coming down to it. But you can also press jump to leap off, which you can combine with holding in either the right or left direction, using the A or D keys on PC or left stick on controller. So you can kind of mantle over and jump in that direction while you're falling down. These will help you escape buildings where enemies are waiting for you below to kind of get the jump on them or allow you just to escape. So when you enter a zip line, you have this annoying animation that leaves you completely open. Chances are, if you're like me, you've died in this position. If you jump and press the button that interacts with the zip line at the same time, you not only get a faster start on the zip line and go quicker, but the little bit of slowdown that you have is a lot faster than if you were just standing there stagnant and took the zip line. There's a sweet spot that you have to find while jumping, but mostly it's just taking it before you start falling. You'll see that it's not like the most incredible speed difference. Most of that extra speed boost comes from skipping the zipline animation at the start. It just gives you a bit of a speed boost while also just not making you as easy of a target. Also, the horizontal zipline's kind of the same thing, except it's easier to get a boost on those if you sprint and jump. Oh yeah, you probably already know that you run faster and for longer when you holster your weapon, or that you gain stamina faster by standing still, but you also regain stamina while sliding, so it's always good if you're going downhill to alternate between slides, especially when you're getting shot at. Free loadouts are like the ultimate clutch of arc raiders. You want to play solo but are scared to lose your gear? Go free loadout. They're great for when you just want combat but don't want to lose anything. They're perfect for when you don't even have any gear left to use. And I have gotten so much richer by just using free loadouts. Yeah, they're primarily best for when you're low on resources or gear, but they're fine to use whenever. You have the downside of getting random weapons when you spawn, but you also get other gear you might not have even thought of or been able to use yet in your quick slots. You also have free heals, and you can sell whatever gear that you have left over if you extract, or keep it. The biggest downside is the safe pocket. Free loadouts do not have one. That's like the biggest thing keeping balance in the force. Otherwise, free loadouts would just be straight up like broken. To get a free loadout, you literally just start a match, and when picking your loadout, go to the furthest tab up on the right, where you can now just start your game. If you have any unloaded gear in your backpack, it'll load into your stash as long as your stash isn't full. Which, by the way, there's also a button you can press in your loadout menu to automatically unload everything from your backpack or loadout into your stash. There's also the merge stacks button right next to it, which just takes the random amounts of stacks that you might have throughout your stash and combines them to free up space. If you want to know how to get keycards, they are a random spawn, but there are some things you can do to find a lot of them much easier. For one, nighttime raids have a much higher chance to spawn better loot, and that includes keycards. You will find a lot more at night. The apartments on Damn Battlegrounds seems to have a really high chance to spawn a keycard even during daytime as well. And I almost want to say any location that spawns a lot of trinkets, like a lot of the residential areas do, have a higher keycard spawn rate chance, but I haven't tested that enough to know for 100% certainty. Walkers definitely have a much higher spawn rate for keycards, but particularly any container in a high value loot zone, which is marked with that red border around the building or area on the map. Those are the best spots to drop keycards, particularly the epic keys. There are a couple of different ways to get better weapons in Arc Raiders. One of the simple ways to get better weapons is to use the gunsmith to level up your already crafted weapons. Another is to level up or upgrade your gunsmith workbench so that more weapons are accessible there. And the other is blueprints. Blueprints are where you get a lot of the best weapons. After finding them, you just need to extract with it or stuff the blueprints in your prison wallet and then right click or triangle to learn it. All of your blueprints can be found in the workshop menu. It gives you the option down at the bottom to view them and see what is required for you to craft it. Besides getting blueprints off of the unconscious bodies of other players or as quest rewards, they can technically be found in seemingly any container, but they are a lot more common in specific locations and different types of containers. For one, again, just like the keycards, the lockers, pretty much all of these are the same as the keycards. I definitely think like the long golf looking bags and duffel bags have a higher spawn rate for blueprints, plus any of those locked rooms that require keys that we just went over as well. Raid bosses like the Rocketeer and the Leaper, they definitely have a higher chance to spawn blueprints. Any higher tier loot area like night raids, high value loot zones, again marked with the red icons on the map, all of those are going to have a higher chance to give you blueprints. Those cylinder golf bags or grenade bags, whatever kind of bag you can find, tend to have a really high drop chance for blueprints. Also desk drawers for whatever reason, and raider caches. Raider caches also have a very high chance.
It's loaded. I just got an Anvil blueprint, dude. Put it in your butt pocket. It's kind of rare drop.
The biggest thing that I wondered for the longest time was how to upgrade your workbench. If you didn't know, you can't. You cannot upgrade this first workbench. You just craft the specialized workbenches, which are basically like specializations for that workbench and kind of stem off of them to give you better weapons and better gear. Chances are you don't have the required resources and loot needed for that upgrade, or those blueprints that we went over. Also, those things take a lot. That's why it's good to track and tag those resources. You can see which ones are needed when you open up your map, all of the ones that you have tracked, or it will show an icon and that piece of loot showing that you tagged it as something you need. This helps a lot since there's so many different types of loot, especially when starting out when you don't know what the heck what each one is. It'll also mark those resources in your inventory, your stash and backpack. So now those are marked and you know not to sell those, and at least be more cautious with selling or recycling those items. Loot that is needed for a quest is marked with a diamond-shaped icon with an arrow inside of it pointing up, and loot that is needed for a tracked upgrade is marked with an eyeball icon. Dude, a huge tip that I did not know for the longest time, you can actually ping these for your teammates so that they know you're looking out for them. Chances are they're not going to bring you the loot that you pinged and probably won't see it, but you can do that by opening up the map, going down to your tracked resources, and just pinging it.